I am James, and today on the desk we have this, which is the HP Elitebook 1040 Gen 9 or G9. This guide should also apply to the G10, which is very closely related to it. And pleasantly, this system has all 5 of its screws exposed on the back. So what we're going to do, these are retained in the chassis, so we just need to undo them until they lift up. There are no hidden screws underneath these rubber feet, unlike a lot of the HP consumer laptops. Being a business system, this is a bit more easily maintained and upgraded. So with all 5 of those done, we're then going to take our pry tool. That was a PH0 size screwdriver bit, by the way. And we're going to take our pry tool and press in here between the back panel and the hinge, and what we want to do is slot that in until we hear a click, and then same pressing in with a little bit of force, just enough to release those clips down the side. We're then going to come in on the other side, so going in about the middle here seems to be the best spot, and then we're just going to check that screw is fully undone. Yep, it is. And then again come in on the side and get clips released here. And then going to just work along the back edge to release that, and then we can pop the back panel off like so. So not necessarily the absolute easiest, but certainly not a difficult one. Once inside the system, our first job is going to be to unplug the battery, and what we have here is we can see this white connector, and it has little bits sticking out on each side. So by just easing those down, we can get the cable unplugged. This is a really good first step before doing any further work, because it means you're not going to accidentally be working with the machine electrically live. To replace the battery, we have these 4 screws. So we can go along and remove these. And then we have a little tab here. Simply pull the battery up and slide it out from these clips to remove it, and to reinsert, just the opposite, so slide it in underneath these clips and we can screw back down. We're obviously not going to plug the battery back in at this stage because we're going to look at the other areas we can upgrade as well. So in terms of upgradability on this system, we have the RAM, which is currently hidden, but we'll look at that in a moment, and also the SSD. The Wi-Fi card can also be replaced, although there is the potential this has block listing on the BIOS. So I haven't tested different Wi-Fi cards in this particular chassis, as for whether it has to be an approved one or whether it can be freely changed. So as I said, you can upgrade the memory, and it may not look like that's the case, but what we find is if we start just by removing this small piece of tape, so disconnecting it from the heatsink, and you see here we have this small handle, so we're going to squeeze on that, and then this shield or cover should allow us to, if we pull up, this is held on by some metal clips on the board, and by removing the EMC cover we can then access the memory. To replace the memory, on each side you just pull these small handles and the memory will pop up. We can then slot it up to remove it and slot in replacements. This system should support potentially up to 64 gigs. I haven't tested 32 gig DIMMs or SODIMMs in this, and it takes DDR5 4800 modules, which I'll link in the description, along with battery and SSD and other pieces. Certainly 16GB modules will work no issue. 32 may work, as might 24, but I haven't tested that with those 2 ranked modules. We can then, having replaced the memory, we want to make sure we are carefully aligning this cover with the metal clip so that it goes in between the two parts that stick up. You should feel when this is right, because as you press it in there should be a little bit of resistance and then it just won't easily pull back up again. I'm going to remove the heatsink later, so I'm going to leave that tape lifted up for now, but you would stick that back down if this is all you're doing. For upgrading the SSD, we can see we have our M2 drive here. There is an additional slot here, which is for the wireless WAN. To replace the SSD, however, we have a single screw here. We can then pop up the drive itself and slide it out. Testing here, we have a double-sided SSD with some additional components on the back, and we can see when we put that in, it will not press down, so it will not go flush, will not screw in. So you want to make sure that your SSD has no components in addition on the back of it, and you want to take this thermal pad and put it on the white spot on the board. So to refit our SSD, we, with it angled up, slot it in, take our screw, press down, and screw back into place. In this model, although we have the clips for the EMC cover, there isn't actually one on the board. This may vary on your system. If it does, then there is a removable cover here, but in this particular one, wasn't present. The wireless LAN is similarly replaceable. So if we just slide under, we can release the two antennas and just maneuver them out the way. We can access the screw. Removing this, the module will pop up and we can slot it out. You may be able to replace this with something like a BE200 for Wi-Fi 7, but I haven't tested this, so just assume that this is for replacing a faulty module. If you have successfully replaced it, let me know in the comments, because it would be interesting to hear. With that positioned as such, we can then, let's make sure these cables are tucked in correctly where it's lifted that one. So we have our black cable here onto antenna 2, and we want to line that up and just press it down until it clips into place. Sorry if fingers are blocking this slightly, it's not the easiest thing to film unobstructed due to how fiddly the clips are. And the second one here, let's again, annoyingly I find this easiest to do with fingernails rather than the spudger, but that really blocks any view of what you're actually doing. So we have that clipped into place. Let's just line the antenna cables back up and get them back into the proper position. And so for the fan and heatsink, so if we just need to clean the fan, easiest option, or clean out the heatsink if dust has built up, easiest option here is to, again, sorry for fingers in the way, but if we grip this fan connector here and unplug it like so, we're also going to disconnect the screen. So pulling on this tab, and I'm just going to use the pry tool to assist in releasing this as well. So get that cable unplugged, and because there is some cable routing in the side of the fan, I'm just going to ease that out. Let's get that out the way, and this will ease removing the fan. The fan is held in with 3 screws. These are retained in it. With that undone, we can then lift the fan out of the chassis. If we just need to clean out the fan or the front of the heatsink here for dust buildup, then we can do that with the fan removed like so. However, if we want to replace the thermal paste, and we're going to do this now even though it doesn't really need it. So to replace the thermal paste and remove the heatsink, we have 4 screws. We will do these diagonally opposed. With those unscrewed, we can then lift the heatsink off clean off the old thermal paste. We've just got some blue roll with some IPA on it. So we're going to wipe that down and then wipe off the residual paste to give us a nice clean processor here. We can then do the same with the heatsink as well. So just rubbing this down to remove the original thermal paste. We then have some G-Lid GC4 thermal paste here, which I'm going to use. Normally I tend to just use Arctic Silver, but this is what I currently have. So we're going to put a bit of paste on both the CPU and the PCH dies. Then we're going to take our heatsink and press it back down into place, and then diagonally do back up the screws. We then want to reroute our screen cable, so making sure it goes in around all of the plastic guides. And then pressing down to reconnect it like so. And finally, making sure we remember to plug back in the fan, because there is nothing more frustrating than getting your machine back together, get it running up, and then realising there is no fan connected. We can then press down this sticker. With our work now all done inside the machine, we're simply going to take the battery connector and slot it back into place, and then take our back panel. We're going to press this in on the front edge first, and then along the sides. And then all that's left to do now is screw back in the 5 screws. I hope you found this video helpful. Do let me know in the comments if it helped you with upgrading your system. Any questions you may have, again, please just ask. Give us a like and subscribe if you found this video helpful, and you can find links to the parts used and tools in the description below. Thanks for watching.